up, though, family? What's good? What's popping with my dope people? So listen, y'all, I have a word today. And this word is just coming from a conversation I was having with God on yesterday. And God brought me back to the story of Joseph. And what God was saying was there were people who threw you away in one season, not knowing they would need you in another season. There were people who threw you away in one season, not knowing they would need you in another season. You feel me? So listen, the story of Joseph is in Genesis, I think the 37 chapters through the 50th chapter. So if you've never heard of it, if you've never read it and you want to read it for yourself, child, go there and read it. It's good. It's real good. Some good tea. You feel me? So go ahead and read it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have time on this video to tell you the whole story. I'm just going to break down to you the way God broke it down to me and tell you what God told me. You feel me? So listen, y'all. So I'm just going to try to, give you a little rundown of quick little rundown, of the story of Joseph. So Joseph was one of the sons of Jacob. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Joseph was one of the sons of Jacob, and he had some other brothers. Well, Joseph was a dreamer. He was gifted by God to be a dreamer. So he had dreams. He had prophetic dreams. And one day he told his brothers and his dad as well, he told them about a dream he had, which basically the dream was saying that Joseph would be placed in a high position of authority, and that his family would bow down to him, or they would, he would rule over them, basically. And his brothers didn't like that. They got mad. They was like, so you mean to tell us that we're going to be bowing down to you or whatever. So they got mad. So now Joseph, he was the favorite. He was Jacob's favorite out of all the brothers. And when they saw that Jacob favored Joseph more than them, they became even mad. Even more upset. So Jacob had this fine, nice coat made for Joseph. And the brothers actually were so mad they actually plotted against Joseph. So one day Jacob sent Joseph out to go check on the brothers because they were out, in the field working. So the brothers saw Joseph coming, and they started plotting against him to kill him that day. So their plan was to kill him and throw him in the pit. Well, God had a ram in the bush. His name was Reuben. He was one of the brothers. He spoke up and he was like, nah, listen, we ain't doing no killing. Ain't no killing going on around here. Now, if you want to, you can throw them in the pit, but we ain't killing them. Because see, Reuben was gonna come back and get Joseph out of the pit later on. But while they put him in the pit, and right after they put him in the pit, there was a group of Ishmaelites that were passing through. So they actually came up with an idea to sell them to another group of people. So they got him out of the pit. They stripped him of his coat that his dad had given him. They took the coat off of him and they sold him over to them. So Reuben was not with them when they sold him. So Reuben had actually came back to look for him in the pit, but he wasn't there. So Reuben became very, he grieved. He was terrified because he thought that his brother was dead. But I guess he later discovered that he wasn't or whatever. So anyway, the Ishmaelites ended up handing Joseph over to Potiphar. Now Potiphar was he was one of the people in high commands. So Joseph worked in Potiphar's house for him. Now Potiphar was married, and listen, y'all, listen. You know how people are. They don't see you until they see you. You feel me? They don't see you until you're doing something good. Then they see you. Then they want a part of you. So Potiphar's wife started noticing Joseph because Joseph was now, he was working in their house, and he had gained favor with Potiphar. So Potiphar's wife tried to make she was trying to come on to Joseph, and Joseph never would, he wouldn't take the offer. So one day she decided, oh, you gonna have this. You feel me? Or I'm gonna get that. And Joseph was like, oh, no, no, no. I ain't about that life. I ain't with that. You know what I'm saying? This is not right, and I ain't doing it. So Joseph tried to flee, and she grabbed his coat. Well, listen, child, homeboy came up out of that coat. He was like, baby, you can have the coat and all of it, but holla, see ya. I'm gone. I'm up out of here. Peace. You feel me? Okay, so because she had the coat, she went back to Potiphar, lying on Joseph, trying to make it look like Joseph was trying to come on her. Like he was trying to take advantage of her. So Potiphar had Joseph thrown into prison. Now, when he was thrown into prison, he ended up overseeing a baker and a butler, which was from Pharaoh's camp. You feel me? Okay. So listen now, Joseph, at the beginning, Joseph was having dreams. But listen now, God will still level you up. God will still take care of you. And God will still make room. Your gifts will still make room for you, as long as you are still allowing God to lead you, and you are being led, and you are in God's will. You are being led by God in God's will. Your gift will make room for you. Hear me when I say this. Because homeboy no longer dreaming dreams. Homeboy now is interpreting dreams. So the baker and the butler both had a dream in prison, and they were like, we don't have nobody to interpret it. So Joseph was like, don't interpretation come from God? So he was like, let me hear it. Tell me what it is. So they told him their dreams. And when they told him their dreams, he interpreted the dreams. And just as he interpreted, it happened just that way, right? Okay, so a few years moving forward, a few years later, the butler had gotten out of prison. He was back in in Pharaoh's camp. So now Pharaoh was having a dream, and it bothered him because he did not understand the dream. So he had this dream, and then he had it twice. So by that time, the butler remembered, dang, you know what? When we were in prison, there was this guy that, we told our dreams to, because we had a dream too, and we didn't know what the interpretation was, me and the baker. And we told homeboy our dream. And don't you know, everything homeboy said, it played out just that way. And y'all, listen, Pharaoh was like, go get him. Let me see him. Let me holler at him. Let me see, can he help me? So listen, they went and got Joseph. Joseph cleaned himself up, cut his hair, put on some clothes, went to him like, yes, how can I help you? All right, so Pharaoh told Joseph his dream, and Joseph interpreted the dream. And what he told him was that the dream that he was having meant that they were going to have 7 years of plenty, and then they were going to have 7 years of lack. Okay, so from him interpreting the dream, Pharaoh now places him at second of command. Because now, homeboy, he got a track record. You feel me? And it's getting dark, y'all, so just work with me. I'm trying to get this out as quick as I can. But now, he's in second of command. So he was telling him, basically like, so listen, this is what we need to do. So during our 7 years of plenty, we need to store up We don't need to be splurging. We need to be storing up. We need to be saving. But because the 7 years of lack is going to come. And when they come, everybody who has splurged, everybody who did not save, they're not going to have anything. And so if we save and we hold on and we put back for the seasons, when it comes into lack, we'll still be able to survive. And then those people who no longer have anything will have to come to us. Okay, so it happens just like he said, right? Because listen, when the favor of God is on you and when God has anointed you with a thing, with a gift, and he give you his word, didn't it say that his word can't return back to him void? Okay, then. So he was the one working in and through Joseph. It had nothing to do with Joseph. This was God working through him to get the glory. So it happened just the way it happened. And end up, Joseph's brothers ended up having to come to them because they were in the famine season, right? And they didn't have anything. So they were having to come to them and buy it. So by this time, Joseph saw them. Joseph recognized them, but they didn't recognize Joseph. Ain't that how it works? God will take you through some stuff, and he will make it so that you don't even look like what you've been through. You will look better because of the work that God has done in you and through you. And listen, Joseph had gone from the pit to prison, and now homeboy was in the palace. He had to level up. So listen, even when you're in a season where it seems like all hope is lost, let me tell you something. All hope is not lost. God is still there with you. God still got your back. God will still cause you to level up and increase in status, even when it seems like you're in your lowest season. You feel me? So Joseph noticed his brothers, but his brothers didn't notice him, and it hurted Joseph, and Joseph cried about that. But end up, Joseph went to them, and he made himself known to them. And then let me tell you how good God is. The brothers they were afraid because they thought that Joseph was going to do to them what they had done to him. And Joseph was like, nah, bruh. Nah, this ain't even that type of party. I'm not about that. I'm not with that. I can't do to you what you did to me. Because listen, what the devil meant for my good, what the devil meant for bad, God made that thing work out for my good. So everything y'all did for me, thank you. Thank you. And that is what God is saying to us. First of all, he's saying, sometimes you need to be quiet. Everything is not meant for you to tell to everybody. Because some things God wants to just reveal in his timing. But sometimes, we'll get all happy and we'll get all excited that we'll go telling and sharing stuff that God didn't tell us to tell. And then everybody don't be happy for you. That could be family, friends, frenemies, whoever. Everybody's not happy for you. And that's what happened with Joseph and his brothers. They weren't happy for him. They were jealous. They became angry. They were mad and all of the above. And so they had plotted to kill Joseph. But what they did not know was the favor of God was upon Joseph. And when God has an assignment for you, and if you are willing to allow God to use you in your assignment and in your life, God will do some amazing things. He will blow your mind, and he will blow the minds of the people around you. I keep saying that. I keep saying it because God keeps saying it. And I'm going to say what God tell me to say. If you stay 10 toes down with God, he's going to stay 10 toes down with you. Do you feel me? So even in the midst of them hating on him, God was still elevating him. He got accused and lied on. But even in that, God was still working because, listen, Potiphar could have killed Joseph because of that lie. But instead, he threw him in prison. God was still working on his behalf because there was a baker and a butler there. And now, not only was Joseph in prison with a baker and a butler, but God now took him to another level where he's no longer just dreaming, but homeboy is interpreting. He's telling you what it means. You feel me? And so God allowed him to be there with these people to tell them what their dreams mean, so that when he got out, God had it all in place. Now the butler doesn't remember who homeboy was and what he done for him, and he done told Pharaoh about him, and Pharaoh like, let me see him, go and get him, I need to see him. Now his gift has made room for him in the palace. Do you feel me? God is gonna take you from the pit to the palace, baby. And you may even have a prison season where it seems like everybody is against you. You've been lied on. You've been mistreated. You've been talked about. You've been thrown away. You've been done so bad. And it seems like you're just in it by yourself. It seems like you was in the pit and like you like, man, I can't go no lower, but it seems like you went even lower. Listen, God is using that moment too. You feel me? I'm going to get out this car because it's getting dark. But listen, God is using that moment too. So listen, even when you're in the prison, God will use that. He will use that too, because that's what he allowed in the prison. He allowed him to interpret dreams for the baker and the butler, and he put him in the right. God will put people in your path, and you don't even understand why he do it. But as long as you are just following God's lead, then you will eventually see just why those people, you had to cross their path, just why they came into your life. You feel me? So like I was saying, he told them who he was, and they thought that he was gonna hurt them, and he was like, nah, I ain't with that, because what the devil meant for evil, God made it for my good. And so he helped his family, he fed them, he was like, give them all they asked for, and what God was saying was that just because people wrong you, you don't have to do unto others what they do to you. You let God deal with that. It's not for you to try to take vengeance into your own hand. God said vengeance is his, and he will repay better than you could ever repay. You feel me? So listen, God will still move on your behalf. I don't care what the situation look like. It may look like it has gone from bad to ugly, to uglier, to worse, to downright nothing, the dogs. You feel me? But God will still even use that. Listen, don't count God out. I'm telling you, stay with God. Walk through every season that God has put you in, because God has equipped you with just the things that you need to make it through to the next season. If God has promised you that favor is on your life, and if God has promised you that he's taking you somewhere, and if God has shown you this, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what man say. You stick with God. Ride with God. Keep doing right by people. And see, that was what Joseph did. Joseph, even he could have became bitter. He could have became mean, even low down and say, you know what? I'm not going to use my gift, because I use my gift. I've been using my gift and it's still not getting me nowhere. But no, Joseph kept on doing God's will. He still used his gift, because see, what Joseph realized was that dream that he dreamed, he realized that God's word won't return back to him void. And even though it was years ago when he was a teenager that he dreamed that, he knew that his dream was still going to come to pass. And so Joseph still walked it out with God, because he still knew that dream that said that he would be in high authority and his family would have to come back to him. He knew that was going to take place. So listen, Joseph was obedient to God all the way through. And that's what I'm going to tell you. Going through every season, I don't care how hard it gets, stick with God. Stick it out with God. Because listen, if God has promised you a reward, you best believe he's going to reward you. He's going to reward you. You're about to have from a pit to a palace moment. And some of the people who threw you away, some of the people who did not understand you, some of the people who thought that you were lying, who canceled you out, are going to be the same ones who are going to have to come back your way. That's why it's not good to burn bridges, because you never know the bridge that you're going to have to cross back over for help. You feel me? All bridges are not meant to be crossed. But listen, you're about to have a pit from a pit to the palace moment. God is about to level you up. And those very ones that canceled you out are going to need your help. And because you are allowing God to use you, you're still going to help them. And it's not going to be from a place of, listen, you needed me now. Look at, nope. It's still going to be from a place of love because you understand what God is doing. God is to get the glory out of this because, see, these people realize that this is all God's doing. They realized that it was all God's doing with Joseph. And it had it not been for God putting their brother in proper position, then this wouldn't even be possible for them to even be able to get the things they were getting during the time of lack, during the time of famine. So God worked everything out because he still was working in the brother's favor. Yeah, what you meant for evil, God worked it out for his good. And this man still has a heart to feed you, to take care of y'all, even though y'all want him dead. Even though they want to see you down, even though they've canceled you out, even though they want to see you dead, even though they want to see you in lack, stay with God. And even when God send them back around, stay with God. Stay humble. Let God use you because God will get the glory. But you will be blessed. I'm talking about blessings pressed down, shaken together, running over. You are going to be abundantly blessed. You feel me? Listen, y'all. God love you. Your dope sister love you. But always make sure that you're loving on you. And you're only dope. You know why? Because God is dope. Don't ever play with him. Period. I love y'all. Y'all be blessed. Now listen. This word is not for everybody. Anytime you get a word, make sure that you always take it back to God in prayer so that God can confirm to you and let you know if this word is for you, because everybody's not in the same season. So this is not for everybody. And don't come in my comments with that negative talk, because if you do, I'm going to block you and I'm going to delete your messages. Because listen, just because you don't believe in God, that ain't got nothing to do with us. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I love God and I trust him and I believe him at his word. Okay? You feel me? Now listen, y'all be blessed, and I'll see y'all on the next. Peace.